welcome to Connected Curious Care. My name is Karina and I'm really happy to have you in this week's episode where we talk a little bit more about supporting someone changing behaviors. And last week we talked already a lot about how behavior change is not an event that just happens like this, but it's more a process. And if we know where in the process somebody is, we can better and tailored support someone on the journey to behavior change. And just as a little recap, I'm going to walk you through the 6 different phases of behavior change, and I'll do that on my example that I gave you last week, which is that I am a little couch potato that should move a little more, and and what stages I might go through on my journey to change. So the first stage is that the stage of pre-contemplation. I really don't want to change. That might be because I have a lack of awareness that sport is good. It might be that I need more information, that I already tried to change and I just decided that is for other people, but I'm not able to change. And so that is like the first stage someone can be at. Then the second one was the contemplation stage. I know I would like to change. I know I would like to do more sports, but maybe just not now. And the holidays are coming up, so it might just not be a good idea right now, but maybe in January. Check back in January. Okay? And then the preparation phase, that's when I'm getting ready. When I maybe download an app about tracking my runs. When I look for a running partner that's on my level that I can go and run with, where I figure out where I could go and run and when, if I have the gear I need to do it. So that's the preparation. And then the action, I'm doing it, I'm running, I'm trying it out, I'm out there. The maintenance, I'm not just doing it once, I keep doing it, and I integrate that now into my life, and it becomes a part of it. And then 6, the relapses. Well, it was Thanksgiving's weekend and I couldn't go running. I needed a fresh start. I gave it up. There was just something so much happening in my life. I couldn't do the sport. There was no time. Whatever it is, there are relapses. Okay, so that were the phases. And today I would like to dive a little deeper into the phase of preparation and talk about why it's so important when you support someone on their journey to look at what could trigger a behavior and falling into an old behavior pattern, and then how you could find solutions on making it more likely that an alternative behavior is picked up, a new behavior is picked up, instead of going down the known behavior, the old behavior. Okay, so what are triggers? Triggers means like that something in our environment occurs that wants me to do the old behavior. Like I have the desire, well, but this happens now, so I'm just going to have a smoke, or I just go and I can't do my exercise. I'm just gonna have this fast food, whatever it is. And triggers can be emotional or social, reactionary or physical. And I'm gonna walk you through all the 4 with an example of mine. And we're going to look closely at what is happening, what's the situation, what's the trigger, what is the old behavior, what need am I trying to fulfill by doing this behavior, and what alternative behavior could I choose to still fulfill the need, the underlying need that might not even be that visible, to avoid falling back into old behaviors. Okay, so let's start with emotional triggers. So, for example, for me, let's assume I had a stressful day. I come home and I feel so exhausted and stressed, and my head is still spinning. And all I want to do is just sitting on my couch, having a glass of wine, and not thinking about work. And so this would be my old behavior, right? Just sitting on the couch. And if I now think about, well, why? Like, what is the underlying need I have here? I realize, well, my need is to relax. My need is um, to recharge my energy and to forget about the stress and to forget about work, to let work be work, and now to just arrive with me. And if I know that, then I can see other strategies to fulfill that need besides sitting on the couch. I could say, okay, well, but I could also go to the park with my daughter and have some fun. We could go to the playground, or anything else that is more active, that goes more towards the goal I'm having, and still values the need I'm having. So that's emotional. Then there are social needs, social triggers. So a social trigger could be, in my case, that I am getting ready for yoga. I have my pants on, I have my yoga mat on my shoulder, I'm about to walk out the door, and I see my husband sitting on the couch with a glass of wine. And my old behavior would be like to sit next to him and put the yoga mat in the corner and just have a glass of wine with him. And I do that because if I look closer at the need, I want to connect with him. I want to spend time with my husband. I want to talk. I want to understand how his day was, and I want to share how my day was. And if I understand that, then an alternative behavior could be to say, hey, would you come to yoga with me? And maybe that's not possible because, you have kids in the other room. But you could say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do yoga at home today. I'm going to go in the bedroom. And just please, sorry, my daughter is back. There you go. But please stay, sit on the couch. I'm going to come to you, and then we can chat. Okay? And then another trigger could be reactionary, like where I could, let's say, I come from work, and I have a deadline the next morning at 8 a.m. We have to get the proposal out of the door, and I make dinner, I give my daughter a bath and tuck her into bed, and then at 9 I'm gonna roll up the sleeves again and work until midnight to get that proposal in. And so the next morning, my old behavior is that I don't get up to do my morning run because I'm too tired. And I look at the underlying need of like, well, why am I in this situation? And the underlying need is not that I'm tired and I sleep. The underlying need in that case is that I want to be a good workmate. I want to be reliable. I want to do high quality work. I want to be recognized for my work. And so that's why I make sure we submit a sound proposal at 8 a.m. And if I know that, if I'm aware of that, I can take care of myself and I can go to work and hand in the proposal, and at 4 p.m. instead of 5, I tell them, look, I worked last night a couple hours. I really have to take care of something today. I'm gonna leave now. And I go running in the early afternoon that day instead of the morning. And then physical triggers. I'll give you an example of like ditching smoking. It's a little easier to make it clear. So let's say I stopped smoking, and then I walk into a group where a lot of people smoke. I smell the smoke and I'm triggered. I want to lit up a cigarette myself. And there are different needs that could happen at this moment. And one could be simply that I want nicotine. And my strategy could be, my alternative, that I have nicotine gum ready to go, or a pad to help with that trigger. And another underlying need could be in that moment that I am bored. Like I stand outside of a restaurant, I wait for a friend, I don't know what to do, and I really want to start smoking. And that is not physical now. I just want to go down that road to show you more examples on needs that may not be as intuitive that you think about at the first time, and that might be harder to find alternatives. So stay with me on that one. So you stand outside of a restaurant, you want to smoke because you don't really know what to do with yourself. And so an alternative could be that you download a video game on your phone that you can play, or you call someone or text someone or check your Facebook or Instagram account. Then another need could be that you want to relax when you smoke. So you come home from a stressful day of work and you just want to have your glass of wine and lit a cigarette. And instead of the cigarette, you find another way to relax through meditation, through taking a walk in nature, through having a conversation with your partner, whatever it is that relaxes you. That could be an alternative behavior. And then the last one is a really tricky one. The need to smoke could also be social, right? Like we could want to belong. And I give you an example. When I was a nurse, there were always smokers and non-smokers. And smokers would take their break often broken up into 5-minute breaks over the course of the shift, and they would maybe sneak to the balcony and have a smoke. And sometimes as a non-smoker you would come if it was possible. Sometimes you wouldn't, but it was a nice way to connect with each other, with colleagues, get away from the crazy and just be on the balcony for 5 minutes and decompress and belong and chat and catching up, and that is something that can be dearly missed. And if we are aware that we miss that kind of belonging, but we are not able to go to the balcony because then the physical trigger comes and we smell the smoke, we can think about alternatives where we could, for example, ask a colleague and say, hey, I really miss our quick chats that we had on the balcony. I can't do it right now. I'm not ready to go and be exposed to smoke, but would you be willing to stay one of your small breaks with me inside and we have a coffee together? Or are you able after the shift to walk with me for 10 minutes in the park, or when we go to the car together, or whatever it is? Like I miss your presence, I miss our interactions, and finding ways to connect and to belong besides going and smoke with that group. Alright, so that was it about triggers and how we can support someone finding alternative behaviors, being aware of the underlying needs of why we do certain behaviors and why we tap sometimes into old behavioral pattern. And yeah, try it out. Have fun with it. Let me know how it goes. And I'll hear you next week. Bye.